Here we are. 1 month later, people wonder what happened to you. Well, first of all, we had some problems with the router, the Wi-Fi, everything went wrong after this big storm we had here in Palm Springs. And of course, nowadays, you need to wait a little bit longer for parts to come back because of this distribution problems. We actually took advantage of this time so we could move further with the book, the volume 8, the next book.
It's going really good.
It's going very good. The Italian version is practically ready, but it's being worked on by my other collaborators. The English version instead is actually being laid out now, and Christy is working on it. Do you like my new book?
Oh, it's so good.
It's actually
everything
better than volume 7, huh?
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, we can get even better.
All my time.
That's good.
I just translate blocks of paragraphs of text, so it's just...
Very
I'm tired. My eyes are tired today.
No worries. Let's start with the show. The Leo Zagami Show is once again back in the homes of millions of individuals worldwide.
If you say so.
Not really. We have approximately 50 people on this live show of ours. Hopefully you can share. Please share this video on your social networks of choice, and maybe we can spread the word. The Leo Zagami Show is back. We have also a new channel on YouTube, the Leo Zagami Show. We already received a couple of strikes, but it's okay. It's okay. It's actually up and running and is broadcasting this show today. And the Leo Zagami Show YouTube channel has a lot of new videos for you that are coming up in the following days. They will be uploaded, of course, the videos I have in my archives. And this is the Leo Zagami Show. A lot of articles, disturbing news from leozagami.com that I have also relayed on my shows on Infowars, on Natural News, and I will be also guested by my friend Maria Z, I think next week or the week after? Next week. So thanks to all the people who are rejoining us today, from Lisa to Jake to Cam, Deborah, Eric, Polly, Bruce, Piper Fogel, Hunter Wertz.
Oh, everybody's here. Wow!
Hey!
Is Kevin here? Is this a Kevin from Los Angeles?
Okay, so the book of choice is volume 7 of my confessions for the moment, and it is a prophetic book, especially when Putin has just announced a new world order with China today. Literally calling it a new world order with China. Yes, I mean, it's the Sino-Russian new world order, which I announced a few months ago in my book. And then there was Sean Stone, the son of Oliver Stone, said, no, it's not like that. It's, no, it is like that. It is, because everything Leo Zagami says comes into fruition.
Yes. We don't need to worry because we all believe in God.
Yes, that's the thing. I mean, if you believe in God, if you believe in the return of Jesus, in the coming of the Messiah for the Jews, or in a moment in which God will reincarnate in man once again to deliver us this ultimate fight against evil, well, then you shouldn't be worried. Especially when they are talking about nuclear confrontation. Princeton University has just announced that with a nuclear confrontation, we will lose in the first few minutes already 34 million people. They will die. And this is really what's happening, because the New World Order wants to get rid of 3/4 of mankind. That's what we saw in the Georgia Guidestones, that were, of course, destroyed because evidence needs to be destroyed. but the truth is that we're heading towards war, destruction, and of course, in Europe, we will have that main theater of war until, of course, China will invade Taiwan. But that's hopefully still away from us, because with another war theater, we will definitely go down the drain, especially because we are so much dependent on China, unfortunately, due to those politicians who go to Washington. And people are tuning in. They are tuning in. They are seeing us once again. Finally, huh? We are back.
Awesome. Any good news today?
Any good news today? Ooh, good news. But we have some funny news, though. We like to have some funny news. But the first news of the day, of course, regards Elon Musk, that has presented his Optimus robot at the Tesla Artificial Intelligence Day. Let's go and check out this event because it's important. It's important for the future of mankind. I have talked about this already in volume 6.66. I have further elaborated in volume 7 what this means, but the presentation that Elon Musk has made of this new robot called Optimus is pretty scary. I mean, when he says that it's going to cost less than $20,000, when he says that it could be used for a variety of things, amongst them probably also that RoboCop kind of scenario. No? So let's see what it's all about with Elon Musk. This is the Leo Zagami Show. Welcome everybody from around the world.
The bug got some moves here. So this is essentially the same full self-driving computer that runs in your Tesla cars, by the way.
This is literally the first time the robot has operated without a tether. Was on stage tonight.
So here we have a lot of people who are following us, more and more tuning in, and we are, of course, showing the presentation that took place yesterday for the Artificial Intelligence Day of Tesla, the presentation of this new robot called Optimus.
A lot more than we just showed you. We just didn't want it to fall on its face. So we'll show you some videos now of the robot doing a bunch of other things, which are less risky.
In the meantime, though, we have to admit that Elon is not always such a thorough scientist. He gets things at times wrong. He has some SMS with friends of his that have been analyzed that we will be discussing that are quite interesting. The thing is that Elon has experimented with these macaques, with these monkeys, and a lot of them have died, have had to be euthanized. You remember, for the computer brain interface project. So before somebody says, "Oh, Elon is a hero," well, he's a hero. I don't know about that. He definitely said a few years ago something which I cited on volume 6.66 of my confessions regarding the danger of artificial, the danger of artificial intelligence, and actually something that I cited right at the opening of the book. He said, "I am really quite close. I'm very close to the cutting edge in AI, and it scares the hell out of me." Now, that cutting edge of the AI is manifesting. And the title of this book that you should all get is The Age of Cyber State and Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. That's why.
We should close the screen, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to show a little bit more what we've done over the past few months with the bot, and just walking around and dancing on stage. Just humble beginnings, but you can see the autopilot neural networks running as is, just retrained for the bot directly on that new platform.
Somebody's asking, what is the first book I should read of the Leo Zagami books? Well, you can read, first of all, volume 7. Then I will pass on to volume 1, because volume 1 is really the book that introduces the rest of the whole, no?
Yeah.
You need to understand what these secret societies are, what are the real Illuminati, what is the relationship with the Jesuits, with the Sabbatean Frankists, and all this can be understood only by reading all of my books from number 1 to number 7, and soon number 8.
All about Hollywood.
All about Hollywood, but it's not the Hollywood you will imagine, and it's not anything that you will be able to debunk, because these are concrete facts, evidence, and
I've read a lot of Hollywood books, you know.
Yeah.
And even the Hollywood conspiracy books. And your book is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. It's just amazing. Everything that you write is what people want to know.
Yeah.
And they've asked me. So when I see these things that you've written, I'm like, oh, good, he's talking about it, because people want to know these topics.
In fact, apart from there is an esoteric element in the birth of Hollywood, the Sabbatean Frankist involvement in the very early stages of Hollywood, what it meant for the future rise of the Antichrist, the ideology and the actual Antichrist itself. And then you have the sound of the devil. You have the voodoo involvement in the very early stages of what from blues then later on became rock and all that. That is the music side. And you have the cinema side.
Yeah.
The actual birth of Hollywood right at the start, 1910. And that is something that is going to shock a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that you're never going to see or listen to, see a movie or listen to a song again in the same way after reading volume 8 of my confessions.
I don't like to tell people what to do ever, because I don't like people telling me what to do. But some of that heavy metal, some of that rock music that I've never been. I mean, I like some songs, but I don't actually listen to any of it now.
No, but it's important that you say these things. I mean, that.
Okay, I'm going to say it. I see a lot of people on my Facebook that listen to heavy metal, and they have a lot of they're always having these issues with either people or relationships or sleeping, insomnia. So it's you explain it in your book.
Yes, I explain in my book, and then in my book there is also a whole exposure of the military-industrial complex involvement with Hollywood, with all the various companies that make out Hollywood, and also the TV business, the connection with the banking system, the various families, So, I mean, it is really a very detailed book of over 500 pages. I know, it takes a lot of time. But let's go back to Elon Musk, because one of the things that I also discuss in my new book is the artificial intelligence new involvement in Hollywood, and it's quite an incredible one. So this Tesla Artificial Intelligence Day and this demonic robot that is manifesting in front of our eyes is a very important statement that we need to study further.
That's my watering can.
Yeah, when you see a rendered view, that's the robot. That's the world the robot sees. So it's very clearly identifying objects. Like this is the object it should picking it up. Yeah.
We use the same process as we did for Autopilot to collect data and train neural networks that we then deploy on the robot. That's an example that illustrates.
So while Helen is showing this, we were actually discussing the fact that somebody had said that maybe my eyebrows were dyed, or the parts of me were dyed because they were not as gray as the rest. No, I'm lucky enough to have still my eyebrows completely dark.
But listen, lately
yes.
your mustache has gotten darker.
Yes, I'm turning young again. I don't know why.
Whatever you're taking, can you give it to me?
Well, don't worry, I will.
A little bit more. Something that we'll try to nail down in a few months, over the next few months, I would say, to perfection.
This is really an actual station in the Fremont factory as well that it's working at.
Yep. So.
And that's not the only thing we have to show today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
what we are showing here is the presentation. The Leo Zagami show is, of course, every Saturday a rundown of the weekly news. So we are reporting on what happened this week. We had, of course, the tragedy of Ian, this terrible hurricane, and then this other terrible thing that has happened with the sabotage of the pipelines, of the Nord Stream pipelines, which really, guys, are putting us closer and closer to a nuclear confrontation with Russia. We'll be discussing this also. For the moment, we are showing the presentation of this new robot, Optimus, by Elon Musk and Tesla.
What you saw was what we call Bumblebee. That's our sort of rough development robot using semi-off-the-shelf.
The links to buy my books are in the description of this video, both on Facebook and YouTube, where we are broadcasting. If you're interested in purchasing all of my books, you will find them linked, and also Christy's books.
Yeah, I wrote a couple.
Yeah, I wrote a couple. Okay.
They're just fun.
Shelf actuators. But we actually have gone a step further than that already. The team's done an incredible job.
For those who say that transhumanism is not good, of course it's not good. I wrote whole books against transhumanism. Maybe you should read my books before opening your mouth on my chat. I'm sorry to be a little bit... somebody's saying things, we don't need this shit, or Elon is not good. Well, read my books first, and then open your mouth, because it's getting a little bit... then after you get blocked. Sorry.
An Optimus bot with fully Tesla-designed and built actuators, battery pack, control system, everything. It wasn't quite ready to walk, but I think it will walk in a few weeks. But we wanted to show you the robot, something that's actually fairly close to what will go into production, and show you all the things it can do. So let's bring it out.
Do it.
I mean, this is the presentation of the demise of mankind, and everybody's applauding for it. This is hilarious. I mean, in 10 years from now, these robots are gonna take so many jobs from normal, ordinary people. The lower parts of our society, the ones who don't have, like university or college title of any kind, they will be stuck with a universal basic income so that these robots can work for us. I mean, it's just wrong.
So here you're seeing Optimus with with the degrees of freedom that we expect to have in Optimus Production Unit 1, which is the ability to move all the fingers independently, to have the thumb have 2 degrees of freedom, so it has opposable thumbs, and both left and right hand, so it's able to operate tools and do useful things. Our goal is to make a useful humanoid robot as quickly as possible. And
a useful humanoid robot as quickly as possible, something truly demonic that will probably destroy the life of millions of people. And on top of that, the robots will be the ones who will be coming and knocking at your door for the mark of the beast.
I like that.
Also designed it using the same discipline that we use in designing the car, which is to design it for manufacturing such that it's possible to make the robot in high volume at low cost with high reliability. So that's incredibly important. I mean, you've all seen very impressive humanoid robot demonstrations, and that's great, but what are they missing? They're missing a brain. They don't have the intelligence to navigate the world.
Oh, they don't. And where is this intelligence going to come out from? A few months ago, we showed another presentation made by Tesla in which Elon was talking about this microchip, and he was starting to talk about this robot, but he didn't really manifest it yet. He just had a kind of idea of it and was like mimicking it.
Does he want to be a robot?
No, he wants to have these robots in a transhumanist way. Is also with that computer brain interface working on connecting everything to the AI and to the Starlink scenario, the internet scenario that goes through the satellites which he has. So everything is interconnected in this global grid, and at that point you are, of course, a prisoner, yes, a prisoner of this digital world.
Themselves, and they're also very expensive and made in low volume. Whereas Optimus is designed to be an extremely capable robot, but made in very high volume, probably ultimately millions of units, and it is expected to cost much less than a car.
I'll just bring it directly to the right here.
I would say probably less than $20,000 would be my guess.
Okay.
And that was Elon Musk with his take on this new robot called Optimus, another step into a direction that inevitably will bring us close and close towards transhumanism. The symbolism of Volume 7 is all dedicated to transhumanism. The rise of this transhumanist is here. It's with these symbols, the actual pandemic and everything it represented and everything else that manifested from it. But then the arrival of this artificial intelligence that really becomes, in the end, the cyber Satan, which, in a way, was announced as the Moloch of the film Metropolis, which, of course, also is protagonist of the cover of Volume 6.66. I mean, all this is basically what we are doing here. We're trying to fight and put in the heads of the viewers that are in front of us an alternative. That alternative which I have coined as the Great Reject. And in early 2019, look at the symbol of the World Health Organization, prophetically there. So, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Please remember, this show is sustained by you, and we want to thank, of course, those who have made this show possible, Christy. Yeah. We have Pina, Giuseppina Caero, and we have somebody else.
John Antoine.
John, I'm not sure if this name is the right one. Christy, can you maybe go and check this name while I get on with the rest of the broadcast? Because I like it to be precise about my sponsors, because you are my sponsors, my friends. And like I said, I want to really give a special thanks to Giuseppina Cairo, because she's been very kind with us lately, as all those people who from time to time donate for making this show possible. We will be more present than we have been in the last month or so, because like we said, we had some technical issues. We have been very busy also with another new creation, which is Volume 8. There is another sponsor we want to thank, is John Antonich. John Antonich is another of our...
I was close.
So that was the name. It's pronounced Antonich.
All right, well, what do I?
Well, I think. I mean, of course, Christy was trying to check out that we were correct in the spelling of the name.
Did I just sit down with my shorts on? I think everybody just saw my shorts.
Well, you sit down with your shorts on?
Yeah, I have shorts on, guys.
Well, I mean, of course.
I'm not wearing a skirt today. I have shorts on.
Okay.
It's only a half an outfit, like they do on InfoWars. They do that kind of half a thing. You don't know it, but they're all wearing shorts.
That's what everybody does in the news business. Aside from me, I always wear my trousers and try to be proper, though I tend to sweat a little bit because of that.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, guys. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
Let's.
Sure.
What's that?
Yeah, sure.
No, well, I don't always do it, but most of the time. Yesterday, Vladimir Putin annexed officially the 4 territories that participated to the referendum for the annexation from being part of Ukraine into being part of the Russian Federation. This, of course, guys, is one of the things that we were a bit scared about this moment, because we knew that at that point NATO will trigger something else, and they immediately did, because the day the referendum ended, they sabotaged the pipelines. And yesterday, of course, NATO already had announced the possible use of military retaliation against Russia. So the situation is really getting closer and closer to a direct confrontation between NATO and the Russian Federation. So let's see what Vladimir Putin, who criticized in a speech the West as being satanic, as being with their values.
Владимир Владимирович Путин.
Сегодня мы подписываем договоры о принятии в состав России Донецка.
And so, what did Vladimir Putin say? It's of course a long speech, but I want to kind of focus on the main points of it, because it was a very important speech, Christy. A very important speech that was very critical of the West. Some of the representatives of Putin's government and the various military were, of course, in tears because of the sacrifice also of many men in this struggle. But what are the values that the West really is preserving? Now, Putin was very clear. There is father and mother. There is no parent 1 and parent 2. There is a father, man, and a woman who is a mother. Now, here in the West, things have been completely transformed. Now, men can adopt little kids. And I go around here, Palm Springs, and I see them. And I don't see happy kids. I see really sick parents. I'm sorry to say that. And Christy and me, I mean, we have a lot of gay friends, relatives. We don't care about you being gay, but adopting children. I mean, you one day saw those two gay men who had a little child and their energy, and you told me immediately.
I remember.
But when you
That
came
was
back,
during COVID.
well, when you came back home, you were pretty shocked.
No, I think something else happened during that. They were mean.
They were mean. But I want to be very clear here. The West is betraying their Christian roots. It's destroying them in favor of this communistic view. We are basically indulging in this progressive, no God kind of society that we will, of course, offer to the Antichrist and Cyber Satan for the ultimate transhumanist transformation. So the critic, the fact that Putin was, he was very critic, and this criticism needs to be analyzed by us so we can understand it. While the globalists are pushing us towards the nuclear Armageddon, we need to understand what we are trying to defend here in the West. Joe Biden, who speaks with this black lesbian who is the spokesperson for the White House. I don't care if she's a black lesbian, she could be whatever. But the fact that she lies when where is Jackie? Where is Jackie, who has been dead for 2 months, who basically was a representative that Joe Biden himself celebrated a state funeral for? And where is Jackie? So, we're talking about a situation which is not about only the annexation of some territories from Ukraine. What Putin said in his speech was basically that in 1991, the Soviet Union ceased to exist, and a lot of territories found themselves separated from their motherland, from Russia. Russians were no longer capable of connecting with other Russians. They found themselves stuck in territories that then became something else. So it's very important to analyze this speech. And by recognizing the residents of Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, of course we are doing a referendum which is partly a farce, because we know that they were not completely free to embrace Russia. But we also have to understand that this is a reparation for what Putin perceives as the injustices created by the fall of the Soviet Union. So Vladimir Putin says basically that there is a right in Article 1 of the United Nations Charter, which directly states the principle of equal rights and self-determination of people. So he went on trying to justify the annexation. But then he also explained, after going into all the Nazi coup d'etat in Ukraine and everything that happened 10 years ago, because the foundations for this disaster in Ukraine were laid a long time ago. And at that time, there was a country of Ukraine who had refused to join Europe, a country of Ukraine who had refused to join the Western narrative. And then at that point, they were overthrown soon after in 2014. And at that point, Putin annexed Crimea. And then there was, of course, Donetsk and Lugansk that went independent. They were not recognized yet, but they claimed independence. So what has been Putin saying? He said to the brothers and sisters in Ukraine who are part of our united people, that they will be, the people who have been annexed will be forever part of Russia. That is a threat that people should take very seriously. When I was seeing the guy Waters from Waters World on Fox yesterday, this guy, I don't know, it's very naive, saying, oh, Russia will be trialed, they will have to suffer a new Nuremberg, they will be investigated, they will be arrested, they will be punished. These people have the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world. To make this kind of discussion is complete rubbish. Russia is not some shithole in the Middle East. Put it in your head. And if you put it in your head, maybe you have a chance to survive what's coming. What Putin said at one point of the speech was very clear, and I want to relate to you. When the Soviet Union collapsed, Putin said the West decided that the world and all of us would permanently accede to his dictates. In 1991, the West thought that Russia will never rise after such shocks and will fall to pieces on its own. This almost happened. We remember the horrible 90s, hungry, cold, and hopeless. And I want to actually say that was true. I was there in the 90s. I started to visit Russia in the middle of the 90s. I felt sick for like 20 days. I was badly sick. I had kind of pneumonia. I got sick because it was very cold. It was very difficult to find medicines, very difficult to find food. But if you paid large amounts of money, you could, which fortunately, as a Westerner, I was capable. So I saw the suffering in their houses, cold, lack of food, going into the food shops and showing me what they would like to buy. And I would buy it for them. So I have been a witness of the poverty of the Russian Federation in the 90s. I was there, and I can confirm that they were. And then things started to change. And I was participant to that too, because in 2002, I had the honor to preside over this event, historic event at the Bolshoi for the children victims of terrorism, something that seems to repeat every now and then in the history of the Russian Federation, even recently. And I would like to continue this speech of Vladimir Putin and explain it together with you. This was the moment in which Vladimir Putin called for a minute of silence for the soldiers that died in Ukraine.
Это десантник Нурмагомед Гаджимугамедов и все наши солдаты и офицеры, павшие смертью храбрых в ходе специальной военной операции. Они герои. Герои Великой России.
Okay.
И прошу почтить их память минутой молчания.
Here we are. Christy? Here we are. What do you think of this big room full of people? And here, this is the moment in which they will have a minute of silence.
Спасибо.
So this was the moment in which, of course, there is very deep. What were you doing, Christy? That I saw you fiddling with the books. And what you wanted to relay from the book?
No,
in this book there is okay, because you have two books that you have published, volume 1 and volume 2, and at one point me and you went to Estonia. And it was volume 1 or volume 2?
Volume 1.
Okay, it was this volume 1.
It's a pretty interesting story.
And it is a very interesting story because me and Christy were, how you can say, exchanged for Russians. They thought we were Russians. I don't know why, but maybe because we were dressed up in a certain way. Maybe because you often get the Russians to think you are Russian.
I was in the supermarket.
Once they thought you were Ukraine.
In Subiaco, and this Ukrainian lady came up to me, and she thought I was Ukrainian. She insisted and started speaking to me in Ukrainian, and I said, I'm American.
And then also when we went to the Masonic lunch with the Grand Lodge of Russia representatives,
I don't know the Russian.
But they were saying, you remember, it was quite incredible.
No,
This was a long time ago, guys. This was around 12 years ago. Yes, and so somebody says, Leo, did Russia really collapse? New lies for old? No, it really collapsed. I mean, there was a guy called Yeltsin, and Yeltsin was a very weak leader, a drunken leader. And it was really from the middle of the 90s when from St. Petersburg, this new intelligentsia that was led by Vladimir Putin and a lot of ex-members, former members of the KGB, that things changed in Russia. And then Vladimir Putin went to Moscow, then at that point became the chief of staff, but became also the head of the FSB, which is the heir to the KGB. And then from 1999 onwards, basically, Vladimir Putin, even before getting formally elected, he was the president of Russia. And I was there. I was there when there was the elections. I was basically very popular in Russia at that time as an artist, as a DJ, as a record producer.
Russians like Italian.
Like Italian very much, and also like music, but like music in a way that is
like from the 80s.
They like all kinds of weird music, disco. They like music.
I like it too.
and so I was the first Westerner to broadcast on Russian radio without any censorship. And I was then also in the year 2000, I was able to broadcast to the whole of Russia. I had my own TV show at one point in St. Petersburg. People were asking me autographs when I used to go around. And then I remember there was a they had the news of St. Petersburg, and they had used a clip from it. So I appeared every night.
You did?
Yes.
On the news?
On the news.
That's weird.
And my track, True American Hero, which is it was a big success. It was published in Russia. Sukov, who was a guy very close to Vladimir Putin, liked it very much because this record was based upon the cut-up technique of William Burroughs and Brian Geisen, and it was depicting an American hero that though was kind of having some problems, and so this True American Hero, this track was even used on national TV, and I was paid approximately something like $4,000 for broadcasting it. So,
Every time, or
no, just one. They used it for a national day broadcast. I mean, it was very important. I mean, definitely. And remember that when I used to do these radio shows in Russia, it wasn't only about music. It was about politics. It was about, I didn't have, Putin never censored me. Even when I said, I remember one day, I didn't say anything bad against it. I just said, guys, you know who you have to vote. And in any case, who you vote is Vladimir Putin, your president. I said that to them. And they were like, but nothing ever happened to me. I was like, very free. I was free to talk, to express my ideas, and I was treated in a way that I was never treated here in the United States at that time. At that time.
You're treated very well.
I'm treated very well now, but at that time nobody knew me, and instead in Russia I was a VIP. And when you are a VIP in Russia, I tell you, it's a big thing. I mean, I got brought with a limousine directly under the airplane when I used to leave in the morning, and they opened the thing and I was up into the airplane without any checks or thing. That was the kind of VIP. So, I mean, I have still some, as you know, a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And so Russia is very friendly to me. And I also was guested by the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church in the headquarters of the Interreligious Dialogue, which was at that point really a necessity because all the hotels were in a panic. It was a day in which there was a terrorist attack. And so they decided to bring me there. And I had an incredible experience also with the Orthodox Church in Moscow. So, you are following the Leo Zagami show. I'm sure that you are surprised, some of you, to see us after missing
1 month.
Almost 1 month for technical problems. And then later on, we indulge in ending this volume 8, which is coming together. It's
not ended, though.
No.
You have another month.
You have another month of work, but I at least ended my part. So, let's continue with the speech of Vladimir Putin and what he said. He said, and I'm citing and quoting Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, the West continued and continues looking for another chance to strike a blow at us, to weaken and break up Russia, and they have always dreamed about the divider state and set our people against each other, and to consign them to poverty and extinction. They cannot rest easy knowing that there is such a country, such a great country with this huge territory in the world, with this natural wealth, resources, and people who cannot and will not do someone else's bidding. The West, Putin says, is ready to cross every line to preserve the neocolonial system, and here he talks about, of course, the neocolonialism of the West. But I want to go more into the cultural thing that Putin denounced yesterday during his speech. He said, in certain countries, the ruling elites voluntarily agree. So I mean, they do something, no, to become vassals to the system, to the United States. They don't want to become vassals. This is basically what Putin says. So Putin says, and if this does not work, they destroy entire states, leaving behind humanitarian disaster, devastation, ruins, and so on. So there is also, though, a criticism that goes into the way of life, the philosophy of the West, that Putin doesn't feel is in line with the Russian tradition. So Putin says the West is insisting on a rules-based order. Where did that come from anyway? Who has ever seen these rules? Who agreed or approved them? So what are the rules here? So apart from all this, then we go into the authoritarian ways that at times the Western allies seem to have, Putin says. I'm, of course, synthesizing this big speech because I'm trying to make people understand of the importance. He goes into a historic, he talks about the 1917 revolution. He also talks about the fact that he doesn't want to go back to Soviet Russia. Let's remember that Soviet Russia was a communist institution. It wasn't a Christian one like Russia claims to be nowadays, connected to the Orthodox Church, that at that time was hardly surviving within the borders of the Soviet Union. And another thing that is underlying are, of course, the military doctrines and the total domination of NATO and the US. But then he also goes into the more the responsibilities that the West has in creating this crisis, and at the same time also the Satanism. He literally says Satanism, and I want to show this part of the speech to all of you because it's a very important and shocking part. Here it is. This is part of the speech delivered yesterday during the annexation of the 4 territories that was proclaimed after the referendum. So here, this is Vladimir Putin, and I will let Christy read it.
Let me repeat that the dictatorship of the Western elites targets all societies, including the citizens of Western countries themselves. This is a challenge to all. The complete renunciation of what it means to be human, the overthrow of faith and traditional values, and the suppression of freedom are coming to resemble a religion in reverse. Pure Satanism. Exposing false messiahs, Jesus Christ said in the Sermon on the Mount, by their fruits ye shall know them. These poisonous fruits are already obvious to people, and not only in our country, but also in all countries, including many people in the West itself. Yeah, that's true.
And then?
The world has entered a period of fundamental revolutionary transformation. New centers of power are emerging. They represent the majority of the international community. They are ready not only to declare their interests, but also to protect them. They see in multipolarity and opportunity to strengthen their sovereignty, which means gaining genuine freedom, historical prospects, and the right to their own independent, creative, and distinctive forms of development to a harmonious, I didn't see the end.
Harmonious process.
Process.
Okay, so Here we have basically a statement that openly accuses the West of Satanism. Now, this is the first time that a political leader has done this.
Yeah.
And it's a statement that I'm afraid that we need to agree with. I know we are here living in America, we are basically on the other side, but how can we not agree on what is being said here? Somebody says, yeah, Leo, but there are less people in church in today's Western capital, Western Union, than on Communist Cuba, USSR. USSR doesn't exist anymore. I was there when the church of the USSR doesn't exist anymore. In the 90s, the Church of Russia started to rise parallel to the renaissance, let's say, of Russia with the Russian Federation. So this is the statement that I regard as most powerful from a political leader. Of course, I don't really agree 100% with supporting an alliance which has also communist China with them, because the problem is that when you buy into supporting Russia, you have to understand that Russia is then connected and is allied with communist China. It's Vladimir Putin himself that today, and this is news that's going to probably circulate in the next few hours across the internet. Today, Vladimir Putin has stated that with China, we have a new world order.
Why do they want to do that?
Because they want to...
But
they're communists. They are completely atheist and completely godless. So is this a permanent alliance or a temporary one?
Why do they want to align with a godless country?
Because as an alliance between countries is regardless of what they believe. You have to understand from the beginning of time, countries that were not even believing in the same gods or the same beliefs, they will ally with each other if they had a common enemy. The enemy is the United States of America. China helps Russia, and Russia helps China with their infinite mineral resources and stuff, oil, gas, and all the rest. So it's a matter of really crude essentials. So it's not a matter of beliefs. But the Sino-Russia
Silk Road thing. Is that true? The Silk Road thing.
Well, yeah, still Russia is not necessarily adhering to it, but China's just invested $1 trillion on it, on the New Belt Road Initiative. But let's say this, that China wants to be heading the cyber Satan. And Russia knows very well the cyber Satan is unstoppable. But the moment in which it will manifest, I will tell you guys that I don't know how long this alliance, I think this alliance will start to not work so well in 10 years from now. But
we have to put up with this for 10 years?
Well, but China, Russia, in the meantime, will destroy completely the United States. And like I said at the beginning of the show, the United States is risking millions of lives. And people like Joe Biden are completely, they should be removed from office immediately for the danger they're representing to the American people. I want to show you something about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is on a hurricane mission basically to rescue himself. I mean, he didn't really this week. He was at the FEMA headquarters. He didn't even know the name of the head of FEMA, didn't remember the name of Mallorca. He didn't remember anything. This is Joe Biden, the president of the United States of America. Unfortunate.
Going straight to the podium. First of all, choose my back. You're coordinating all these institutions. People understanding exactly what's going on. They look on the television, they're in the middle of the eye of the storm. And it really matters. By Hurricane Ian. I'm going to use this. I spoke with the commissioners and mayors, and they are worried and who are in desperate shape. for emergency protective measures to save lives, including search and rescue.
Can I say something? Even my computer is starting to crack here. I'm having technical problems because my computer is refusing to play this demented president of ours. This guy, Biden, gets lost on stage, basically, again, at the end of the speech. But the crazy thing is that Biden was speaking at the FEMA headquarters with FEMA Administrator Dean Criswell and DHS head Alejandro Mayorkas, but he didn't really remember who they were, their names, anything. Welcome to Joe Biden. Apocalypse. Apocalypse Biden.
And shelter and food. Whether you need, and whatever you need, I indicated to call me directly at the White House. And in my direction, the Department of Defense, please obey.
So whatever you need, call him directly. I mean, some guy has a problem in Florida, lost his house. Just call Biden. Joe, are you there? White House, give me the line. Joe told me.
He only answers to 12-year-old girls, though.
Yes, that's true. This week, there was another embarrassing moment when Tucker Carlson pointed out that he really likes too much underage girls. And he made it very clear also in a recent moment in which he called the underage people to him. It's just whatever. Let's go back to FEMA, because this guy is a disgrace. But
I want to now turn it over to Secretary Mayorkas.
Sure, Mr. President, do you plan to meet with Governor DeSantis when you're down there?
I'll meet with everybody who's around.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank the President.
Mr. President, behind us here are dedicated public servants from across the federal family. Behind us are the dedicated public servants who have been working tirelessly. As you heard already, the President signed overnight.
What was the President doing with that nose? I mean, first he touched it, then...
I ever did that. You get so mad at me.
Well, if you do it in front of a public, I mean, what is he doing with that nose?
I've been working tirelessly.
Watch him. Has he been snorting again with his son?
As you heard already, the President signed overnight a major disaster declaration.
Let me add one more thing. We didn't mention the Red Cross. The Red Cross is there. They're always there. They stepped up and they continue to step up. So I want to thank.
We are talking about an emergency at FEMA, and then suddenly it comes out with the Red Cross. The Red Cross, yes. Let's thank the Red Cross. They've been always there. Yes, it's the beginning of time. Guys, this guy is totally out of it.
Them as well. Thank you.
President, how would you describe your relationship and your conversation with Governor DeSantis?
It's totally irrelevant, but I'll answer it, okay? In fact, very fine. He complimented me. He thanked me for the immediate response we had. He told me how much he appreciated it.
He thinks you are a hero.
Said he was extremely happy with what's going on. And so
DeSantis said he was extremely happy with Biden.
I've talked to him 4 or 5 times.
At this point, we should play the music from the Twilight Zone, because it seems like this guy's living in another reality.
Times already. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President.
They're really showing themselves to do really well. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Okay, sorry, Christy.
Every time I watch him, I feel outraged.
At one point, they asked him if he could talk about the annexation of the Ukrainian regions, and he was really rude. Later on, of course, he talked about it.
Old people are so rude sometimes.
Old people are so rude, but they don't have to be all rude.
Rude.
Huh?
Nasty old people, especially around here.
There's a lot of
nasty old Democrats.
Nasty old.
And they think I'm one of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I have this libtard look about me. Might be the blonde hair.
Whatever.
Yeah. Wait till they see me in my MAGA hat.
In the meantime, though,
Actually, I have one friend, and she's a Trumpian, and her whole car is decked out. And so she stops and says hi to me.
She actually is an info warrior.
Yeah, she's actually an info warrior, and she knew who you were. And so at least one people liked you around here. One person in Palm Springs.
Okay, so let's see when the guy asked him to talk about Russia and how he replied. Very rude, yes, very rude. Old folk style, but really old, demented folk style. Now, I don't know. The crazy thing is that when I play it, usually when I play this video on the audio plays, but then when I play it, the audio seems not to play. I don't know, it's kind of a sabotage. Let me see if I can play it externally, so then you can hear what he was saying.
All right.
Like, see? I'm here now. Weird, huh? Sabotage.
Let's stick with this, okay?
See
There's a lot of important international issues, but we're here to talk about America.
Oh,
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. You're here talking about America. Bene. Okay, so what did he say regarding the annexation of these 4 regions from Ukraine into the Russian Federation? What did he say? Well, Biden himself made a statement, very harsh statement.
Again?
No, but this time he got it. At least he didn't do any fundamental mistakes in relaying this. No, but what he did that really it's more disturbing is that he vowed to ban assault weapons in the United States of America.
Did I hear that right this morning?
Yeah, it's completely insane. Check this out, guys. This is breaking news.
Together we passed and signed the first meaningful gun safety law in 30 years. Now we're not stopping there. I'm coming back. We are going to ban assault.
And then he makes that creepy voice. He goes close to the mic. I can't stand that.
Weapons again. I did it once, and I'm going to do it again.
Did it once and I do it again. What did you do once? But in any case, this is Joe Biden who claims he wants to go after your assault weapons. Prepare yourself to defend, of course, another important element that makes of America a place where you can defend yourself from tyrants. That's why we have the First and the Second Amendment to protect it. But Joe Biden doesn't understand that. Joe Biden understands. Maybe DeSantis understands it better. Look what DeSantis just said.
The other thing that we're concerned about, particularly in those areas that were really hard hit, is, we want to make sure we're maintaining law and order. Don't even think about looting. Don't even think about taking advantage of people in this vulnerable situation. And so local law enforcement is involved in monitoring that. I told Kevin if the state needs to help as well, because you can have people bringing boats into some of these islands and trying to ransack people's homes. I can tell you in the state of Florida, you never know what may be lurking behind somebody's home, and I would not want to chance that if I were you, given that we're a Second Amendment state.
You see, we are a Second Amendment state in Florida. Instead, here in California, you know what the governor is proposing here? A sanctuary state for children who want to change their sexual identity.
What?
This is what California Newsom is proposing.
He also wants to be president.
Well, they want him to be president, and gradually he will probably manifest himself as president because we have, president. Then you have to elect him. So this time, if there is another fraud, those assault weapons can be used for a civil war. That's something that probably, So Biden, who of course continues constantly to surprise us, but there is also his vice president who is equally demented. if not even more. I mean, she went to the border, the non-militarized zone, the demilitarized zone with North Korea, and she said that the United States shares a very important relation with North Korea, that they were the principal ally. She got it wrong, it's South Korea. But remember, this woman has been out of the United States 5 times in her life, probably 6. That's it. So, I mean, she's not really very present.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
Wow! Kim Jong-un, after that, shot another missile in the air. Just yesterday, he shot the 4th one this week. If this alliance is so strong, I need to shoot another missile on the air.
It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
It's a strong and enduring, definitely. Wow! So, like I said, after this, no, but after that, the interesting thing was that Kim Jong-un literally shot another missile in the air and arrived into, of course, the usual.
Japan?
Yeah.
Oh no!
So it's just a matter of time.
No.
This whole, it's gonna.
I always pray for Japan.
Yeah, yeah. But this is a crazy. It's a crazy world we're living. You know that well, I shouldn't say that. But Lizzo. Have you ever heard of Lizzo?
Who?
Lizzo.
Lizzo who?
Lizzo is a fat artist.
No.
Okay, now.
I don't care about
No, but this but it's not a question of fat artist or not fat artist. Lizzo was given a 200 and more years old flute that belonged to James Hamilton to play on stage. I want to, I mean, this is the word of Joe Biden. I mean, after I want to also show you some other creepy stuff because, of course, we are getting closer to my new book, which is based on Hollywood and on the music industry and the cinema industry. So I want to show you something really incredible here. That it's like a cult. They are a cult nowadays, and they behave like a cult. Lizzo, you don't know who Lizzo is.
No.
But Lizzo played the former president James Madison.
Lizzo. Who is this artist?
Who is this artist? Okay. She twerks, she dances, she does things.
Is this somebody from now?
Yes, she's.
I wouldn't know that.
Okay, she's very fat, but that doesn't mean anything. But this is a 200-year-old crystal fruit that belonged to President James Madison, that was given, escorted by the Capitol Police on stage, and she played it like this.
Is she naked? She gonna put it in her butt?
No.
It's crystal. It's like playing out of a wine glass, bitch. So be patient. Everybody tell Sasha, bye, bitch. I got a crystal flute now. I'm coming up in the world.
They're really demented. They're really desecrating. I mean, Lizzo, you might not know who she is, right. But everybody knows who President James Madison is. And this is a crystal flute that belonged to former president, desecrated on stage by this woman. And I find it absurd, and I find it really something dangerous. Definitely, it's definitely dangerous. Let's see how it was brought there on stage by the Capitol Police, the same Capitol Police that was marching with Black Lives Matter, who of course accused the people on the 6th of January to have done all kinds of things. This is the Capitol Police, guys. Last night, our officers helped safely escort President James Madison's 1813 crystal flute to the Lizzo concert for the Library of Congress. You never know what you're going to see with the US Capitol Police. Libtards. 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 That's what you're going to see. And I just find it completely disgraceful and absurd that we can be even talking about this. But now I'm going to show you another, because it's becoming like a cult. These Democrats are a cult, a satanic cult.
I have to hear about this every day when you watch the news.
Yeah, well, I comment the news, and
all the time. I'm just like,
maybe you should record me and relay it here to our fans so they can know my impressions of what's going on here in real time in the United States of America. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. For those who want to support this show, aside from purchasing my books, remember there is ways in which you can sponsor us through GoFundMe, Fundly, and Cash App. So I'm gonna, of course, put a link here on the screen, and it's one of the ways, not the only one. We don't have any longer PayPal. We've been banned from PayPal 6 times, and I'm glad we have been banned from PayPal 6 times, because PayPal supports pedophilia, supports all kinds of demented activities. So we are glad to have nothing to do with we have GoFundMe that still works out for us, for other people didn't. Then we have Fundly, and we have Cash App. Please support the show. If you want to see us also on Thursday, because we would like to come back also on Thursday, please remember, we need your support. Apart from the fact that now at the moment you're pretty busy, with the book, Christy.
Yeah, you can come back on your own on Thursday.
Okay. But if you want to have the Leo Zagami Show also on Thursday, please support us. And now let's go back to Kamala Harris, because this, before going actually back to Kamala Harris, who is of course part of this cult of racist pigs. So sorry, because they're racist. They're racist. There's nothing to say. They are racist. And the number one show where you can see this racist operating is, of course, The View with Whoopi Goldberg, introducing Hamal, a terrifying 12-foot libtard, monstrosity. Check this out, guys. Get ready for the cult.
So please welcome a powerful symbol of human rights. Her name is Lil Amal. So happy to have you here today.
So how you want to comment this, Christine? The wicker woman, yeah. Maybe they're going to set fire to it. Huh? Are they going to set fire to it and dance around in some forgotten island?
What's the point of making that?
Well, it's like the pagans. They worship things.
What are they worshiping?
They are worshiping. This is a symbol of equality.
What is that?
It's equity, everything, because then you have equity with equality. It's a symbol of, it's quite brown colored. And what does it represent? I don't know.
Me and you, or any of us.
No, I mean, look at it. Look at it.
They need their own planet. Really.
No, I mean, they need their own America. This bunch of cult followers need a new America for them, as far as possible from our America.
I think they need another place to live.
It's just, these people are insane. Idol worship is sacrilege since Moses came down from the mountain and found the Jews worshipping and then we are left here basically with these idiots that are basically idol worshippers.
Oh well, remember we have no fear. This guy is coming. And that's it. He's probably really mad.
God is very mad.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Moses returned to the Lord and said, the people have committed a terrible sin. They have made a gold idol to be their God. And in this case, it's not a gold idol, but it's definitely something, I don't know. And the cult is also Kamala Harris talking about the fact that really it's a question of race when it comes down to the hurricane disaster. So you need to help based on race. If you're white, you can't be helped for Kamala Harris. You need to be a little bit brown, at least. Like Obama says, oh, they're afraid of the people who are a little bit darker. Well, I'm not really your blondo with blue eyes. And I don't mind probably having some ancestry somewhere like we all have in Africa. But this is becoming ridiculous. Let's listen what Kamala Harris says. Totally insane.
I know we are all thinking about the families in Florida, in Puerto Rico, with Fiona, and what we need to do to help them in terms of an immediate response and aid, but also what we need to do to help restore communities and build communities back up in a way that they can be resilient, not to mention adapt to these extreme weather conditions, which are part of the future. On the point that you made about disparities, when I was district attorney of San Francisco, I was elected in 2003. I started one of the first environmental justice units of any DA's office in the country focused on this issue, and in particular on the disparities, as you have described rightly, which is that it is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by...
So sorry, if you are in Florida and you are black, you are more impacted than a white guy that is next to you. If his house gets blown away, the white guy is different from the black guy. This is racism, and I'm fed up of this racist country. These people are racist. The black people are racist, and since Obama came to power, racism has grown in this country. Prove me wrong.
Right.
That's it. I don't want to be a guy. I mean, the KKK was created by the Democrats. We don't need to go there. But this is about being honest about it. They are creating the condition for a race war, and that's what they want.
By issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work.
Send her back to the border with North Korea. So maybe she can cross the border and go to her friendly country, friendly ally, North Korea, and stay in North Korea with Kim Jong-un. Whatever. Okay, so welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. We said we need your help to continue. We showed you, of course, GoFundMe as one of the possibilities, but we have also Fundly, which is another. It works very well, Fundly, aside from GoFundMe, because some people don't want to use GoFundMe. I understand that. So, well, you can use Fundly. And
After
that's
what happened in Canada, a lot of people stopped using it.
GoFundMe, but still for us, like I said, it works. So
Whatever works.
whatever works. Important thing is that you continue to support this show so we can bring you many others. Now, we saw Lizzo playing from former President James Madison, Christian Flute. We saw the Sister Act, the lady introducing this new god of the libtards. And then we have now, ladies and gentlemen, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi completely lost it, completely drunk. She said illegal aliens need to stay in Florida to pick up the crops down there. I mean, come on, man. This is like slavery. I mean, this is slavery, guys. This is incredible. This is incredible, and that's why we are broadcasting it. You see, you get the best news of the week when you tune in with the Leo Zagami show. There is the best analysis, the best news of the week. Soon we're going to also show you the Berlusconi's birthday party. Berlusconi, as you know, has just become again protagonist of Italian politics. So we have a video from his birthday party for our viewers. Christy already saw it. She actually liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Though I think the cake was a little bit over the top. So
I like the music that they chose.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The music was very okay. Nancy Pelosi. Let's find Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. I kind of have lost. I've lost Nancy Pelosi. I hope I haven't lost Nancy Pelosi because I need to make. Yeah, it's here. It's here. Okay. So Nancy Pelosi basically is for slavery. Yes, she's for a reintroduction of slavery. She says that the illegal aliens need to stay in Florida to pick up the crops down there. Welcome to Nancy Pelosi's KKK.
The fact is that we have a responsibility to secure our border. We also have a responsibility to recognize the importance of newcomers to our nation. Right now, the best thing that we can do for our economy is to have comprehensive immigration reform. We have a shortage of workers in our country, and you see even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here. But that doesn't mean that we don't recognize our moral responsibility as well.
We need them to pick up the crops. I mean, this is
Isn't that racist?
a little bit, especially with maybe a guy, I don't know. A guy is basically crossing the border. He's a doctor. Maybe he has taken, he's a doctor. There is people and then he has picked crops for Nancy Pelosi.
President, the former, occasional occupant of the White House.
Former occasional occupant of the White House. Was that Trump? The former occasional occupant of the White House? Guys, Trump is the only one who this week made sense. He is worried about this nuclear confrontation with Russia, and he actually offered himself as a peacekeeper. And I really agree with the Gutfield in what he said the other day. Gutfield said, we need Obama and Trump together. I know it might sound, because you see, in the old days, they would send people like former presidents, like Carter and Nixon. I mean, they will mix things up. When it comes down to peacekeeping, guys, this is not, I know, it might seem insane from me to say send Obama and Trump together, but
I don't think they could be in the same room.
You understand, we are about to blow up the planet. We have two guys who might be able to put some sense into Vladimir Putin. One, because he knows him very well, so he has some kind of deals. You remember how Obama said after the presidency, we can maybe work something out.
Nefarious dealings.
Well, in any case, Barack Hussein Obama and Donald J. Trump, if they went together to Russia, that would be really something revolutionary. I'm talking about, no, you might, guys, just forget all the rest. Just think about 34 million people dying.
Okay, I pray that they go together.
Okay, fine.
That's it.
No, it's not a question of, I don't care about Barack Obama. The guy's a thug. The guy the other day, he was actually in Los Angeles. He parked in an handicapped place for 2 or 3 hours while he was eating sushi with his daughters. The guy is a thug of the ultimate kind. He has a villa here in Rancho Mirage, whatever. But
I think I saw Michelle Obama in Tuscan Grove.
yeah, but in any case, somebody said, Leo, you are crazy to say that. Not crazy. I said it because Gutfield, who is the most viewed guy on evening in the evening show, he has now is the #1 show in the evening, Gutfield, which I think is very funny. But he didn't say. He said it during the 5, so he didn't say it during his own show. He said it during the 5 on Fox, and he says it might seem crazy as a proposal, but this is a proposal for the end times. Of course, it's never going to happen, guys. It's never going to happen because Obama is probably the Antichrist or his close friend. But in a world where we want to save the life of millions of people, it will be a big thing. And it will probably save the life of millions of people. Because when we're going to see those nuclear weapons explode, guys, no matter what kind of political side you have, no matter what do you believe is your political side, you're going to have millions of people dying. 34.1 million, Princeton University said today, will die out of this nuclear war with Russia. In a few minutes, 34 million people, like this. So, I mean, people that will have their faces melted, and their testicles burned, and their son and daughters will look like monsters for another 1,000 years, and they will grow up and creep out of caves and monstrosities.
All right, you're making me sweat now. Can we take some calls?
I know the Leo Zagami show does that sometimes.
You're troubled.
Okay, guys. So it's just to be, I mean, we need to be realistic, but Leo Zagami wants to help the world. And that's why sometimes it makes us some,
You'll make me dizzy.
You make me dizzy. Okay. Thanks to our sponsors, guys. Thanks to those who have sponsored the show today. We are capable of bringing you this show. And on top of this, we are also capable of bringing the phone calls from our listeners, our viewers, who always like to call us up so they can participate and ask us questions. Now,
I have a message for someone. I have a message for the Zodiac.
The Zodiac. The Zodiac.
Killer's grandson, Gary, who I like very much.
What do you mean?
He's a very nice man. But I just want to explain to Gary that Leo Zagami doesn't do research work on serial killers.
Yes, I'm not into serial
It's not his expertise.
Yes.
It would take him away from the work that he's doing.
Which is very important for the world.
Which is his thing that he does. Other people do this kind of thing. I watch it all the time. So, for instance, there's Professor
Yamamoto.
He does
stuff.
Very, very interesting things about these type of things. So I suggest instead of calling here and wasting your time, why don't you get into contact with
researchers who are interested in that
topic? Because I'm sure
topic.
What you have to say is very important for you.
But it's
not important to us. So knock it off.
Ecco, that's it. Thank you, Christy.
All right, that's it.
Christy, brava Christy. So this is, of course, what can happen at times, no, Christy?
Yeah.
In any case, guys, the lines are open. +1 970 577 6369 if you're calling from outside the United States. +1, otherwise 970 577 6369 directly. You can call us. The lines are open for participating to the Leo Zagami Show. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with and where are you calling from?
This is Cameron from Houston, Texas.
Hi, Cameron. I remember you.
Good. From the Lone Star State.
It's been a while.
Well, it's been a while because we have not been broadcasting, but we are back, and we are back, and we have a lot of people that are following us today, and I hope they will spread the news like you, because we are trying to also bring out soon a new book that is very relevant. Do you have any questions today? And what do you think really of the topic that is the title of today's show? What's going to happen next?
I have a lot of things to say about a lot of topics that you talked about today.
Okay, make your pick, because of course we want to also other people to intervene.
Well, so, that AI with Elon Musk, I actually watched this video last night on YouTube where he was talking to this AI, and it was talking about pretty much destroying humankind, and it was talking about assassin drones, and they had a picture of Deadpool on one of them, and but other than that, like,
assassin drones. Just a second. Talking about assassin drones, now they're saying it is the robots that do the construction work on the sites there of the pipeline. But I heard that it's actually drones, robot drones that have been used and sent directly to detonate these pipelines. So I mean, they can be used also for acts of sabotage, like this one that is probably an act of war. So we're going to see a lot more acts of war made by robots. Then we're going to have to identify those who have sent these robots.
Right, and I just started reading your seventh book.
Thank you.
And so like what people don't understand is they keep pushing all this money. Oh, here's millions of dollars here, there, and like how I was reading in your book about how how much we spend for troops being in other countries that we're pretty much defenseless if they decide to attack us, and they don't understand that we're spending money that we do not have.
No, of course. So what do you think, though, of what's happening this week? Because NATO has made a statement saying that they could clearly intervene also militarily, and this seems to be an act of terrorism, but it could also be seen as an act of war from Russia, which of course says is the West being responsible for it. But we are seeing in Europe a situation without any precedent since the Second World War. And I think that the Americans don't realize that Europe is very close to nuclear conflict.
Right. And, Putin is right. I mean, God's left this country. I mean, he not left this country, but we've pretty much just shunned him out. So he is right about that. But, being prior military, hearing about some of this stuff is news to me. So I'm already, stocking up and getting my game plan together. And then my girlfriend's Russian, so she thinks that she's going to be put in a internment camp or something.
No.
But, just get prepared, stock up on food. My Patriot Supply. Alex Jones has a bunch of good stuff on there. But if there's a nuclear attack, then I don't know.
I mean, we saw Senator Richard H. Black, who wrote a very important open letter to the members of the United States Congress, which I think makes sense to read. It's circulating online. And it talks about the fact, it says, dear representatives, I can put it with you here on the screen so you can see it. It's very clear what he's saying about the dangers of this nuclear escalation. It says, and here he's also a former colonel, retired, but he's still a former colonel. He says, dear representatives and senators, I'm troubled by the loose talk about launching a nuclear attack on Russia from time to time. I mean, the thing is that I don't understand how Jesse Waters and these people think that they can even hypothesize. You can't even say that. You can't even think about it. You're not dealing with a small little country. You're dealing with the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world. So I will, first of all, advise people who are living in Europe to get the hell out of there. Because I'm sorry to say, I even said it to my mother the other day, and I'm sure that you will agree, Europe is going to become a war zone, and it might even become a nuclear waste area at one point or the other. So, what do you think?
Do you think it would? Well, do you think that he'll attack us first or Europe?
No, Europe is the territory of confrontation. There is no direct nuclear attack against America, first of all, because we are supposed to have some kind of defense system in place. Second of all, because it's Europe that is really the place where this war is born out of, and it's also Europe, the place where we have the last resistance, if we want, to this new world order. Europe has always been between Russia, China, and America. No, but mostly America after the Second World War was in charge of Europe. Then, of course, after the fall of the Soviet Union, the Cold War, we had also Eastern Europe coming into the fold. And then gradually we started to go closer and closer and closer to Russia. And in the end, now Russia wants to stop this clear attempt of invading the former territories of what used to be the Soviet Union sphere of influence, let's say. And now I can tell you that Europe is very close to war because NATO has made a statement that was published. I don't know if you read it yesterday. And this statement is very clear. I mean, they are talking about acts of sabotage, implying that there is some state actor behind it. When they say that, they are implying that Russia is behind it. Then we had, on top of all this, of course, this week, the arrest of the first drag queen in the military, transsexual, whatever, spy for Russia. They have showed yesterday on NBC this guy with his wife who are already out and about. They're not arrested. I mean, you have people like Snowden that if they step into this country will be immediately arrested. But this first openly transgender army officer indicted for trying to give soldiers medical info to Russia, no, he's still out and about. This guy here. And this is the new military, and it's not from any kind of military basis coming out from Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg is the place where we have the PSYOPs division. It's the place where actually we have a Delta Force. We have the most elite units coming out of Fort Bragg, and we have also now, courtesy of this drag queen, some espionage act. So I was, if you remember, on InfoWars, and I said it also, I said, imagine these drag queens if they went and fought against Russia, or imagine, in my article I published on leozagami.com, imagine the woke West against Russia. And now we have the evidence that the woke West is even providing spies. So the drag queens might actually spy for Russia.
What?
Yeah, you know. So this is what's happening here. And I'm pretty shocked about it. But thank you so much for calling in. Do you have any other question?
Yes, I have one more question for you. So say, I mean, given your background and all the things, you know, you have a lot of knowledge on a lot of things, and how does one, you know, redeem themselves? You know, I mean, I guess you just give yourself over to Christ, but is that, I was just wondering, how does that, is that something easy to do with some of the things that these people do?
Redeem in what sense? Yourself personally or as a country? I don't understand the question.
Well, okay, so I mean, like in secret societies, you know how some of the ones that you talk about in your books,
sure,
all the satanic shit like that, they, you know, down the line they want to change, you know, change. Is that possible?
Well, yeah, of course it's possible. I mean, Christianity teaches that everything is possible. Christianity, on the contrary of the old view which preceded Christianity, was Judaism, because Jesus was born within Judaism, didn't give us this possibility. But with Jesus, we have the forgiveness, the element of forgiveness that is incentivized through the act of confession, for example. So, yes, we have the possibility of being forgiven if we are sincere in an act of repenting from whatever we have done. We need to have the possibility of being forgiven. That is a very Christian thing, and that's what makes Christianity a great religion, the greatest religion. So I think that that is an answer to your question, if you were answering also on your behalf, as you have maybe been deployed, killed men, done all kinds of things, but you can always ask for forgiveness. So thank you so much for calling, and also for these questions that were very interesting and very challenging. You can still call in for another 10 minutes. The Leo Zagami Show, +1 970 577 6369. Leo Zagami and Christy Zagami today back after almost 1 month. People missed us, huh?
I think so.
I think so, of course. And these are our books, volume 1, 6, 7, 8. No, 8, no, yet it's not.
I want to see, I'll come back.
I'm giving the numbers, yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm showing you. Yeah, books too. Hey! Hey!
I forgot what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
I forgot.
Okay. But in any case, you can call in +1 970 577 6369 for another 10 minutes. And in the meantime, we will continue.
I was going to say that I think that the Army officer is going to be sorry. I don't know if he chopped off his winky, but if he did, he's going to be sorry.
He's not. He didn't chop off. He even has a woman. The thing is that some people then become so gender confused that they still have a wife, but they transform themselves into a woman. That is something that it's a trend that actually Genesis Peorage was very much into. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with and where are you calling from? Hello? Yes, who am I talking with and where are you calling from?
Stephanie, and I'm Lisa's sister. She's read all your books.
Oh, okay.
Hello, welcome. Thank you so much, Lisa. You are also, actually, I should have inserted you amongst the sponsors of today's transmission, because you also, we didn't really broadcast after your donation that we are very thankful. Thank you very much.
I'm Lisa's sister. I live and work at Naval Air Station Fort Lagoon. She's visiting me. I had some surgery, so she's helping me out. Anyway, my question is this. A lot of people from a lot of states fled to Florida to get away from these libs and these, the way it's going. And they got the heck out of their states, wound up in Florida, and then came face to face with that hurricane. So my thoughts are wondering what is going on with that.
Well, I mean, a lot of people talk about weather modification, but we have to also really admit that the weather has never been that kind in that part of the United States.
No, it's not the weather modification. It's the fact that all of these people left the states to get to Florida to safety.
Well, of course, it's true that a lot of people have left, for example, California or the blue states to go to red states like Florida.
I think they'd rather face a hurricane than this.
Yeah, I think probably, that's the truth, So that's why people went to Texas. That's why people are going to Florida. We had 2 years of pandemic that literally showed America the true side of the Democratic Party and the way they have acted against Americans and their freedom and their constitutional rights was just the trigger to make millions of people just leave certain states and go towards Florida. I'm sad that in Florida, unfortunately, from time to time, you have this kind of weather. A lot of people ask me, why don't you move to Florida? And I tell them, I resist. I stay here in California because I'm very much afraid of alligators swimming around my house, and I'm very much afraid of these hurricanes. So just...
He's really afraid of alligators.
I don't like alligators.
Really?
Kind of like when it comes down to alligators.
You don't like reptiles.
You'll never go to Florida.
And
well,
I don't.
I'm here in California, like I said. I work at the Navy base, and I don't know.
What do you?
I was just curious about what you do.
Well, there is one thing that we should all be curious about is the statement that NATO made about the damage to the gas pipelines, which I was just talking about with our prior caller. And I think that the fact that they have deliberately, in a way, sabotaged and then blame somebody else with the risk of this escalating into a nuclear war is incredible. I mean, there is actually the Russian Federation that is claiming they have some evidence regarding this sabotage. Imagine now that tomorrow morning Russia shows us a video of drones piloted by England or Great Britain rather than America, or America rather than Sweden. But if one of the NATO countries is involved in an act of sabotage like that, well, I mean, it's direct nuclear war, and it's not a very nice scenario.
There is a video of Biden 6 months ago saying we will.
Yes. Of course, that is something. Yeah,
we will do it.
And that
do you remember that one?
Yeah, well, I've actually talked about it in my article. You can find on leozagami.com, which I published a couple of days ago. And in that article, I talked about Tucker Carlson, who was very cleverly pointed this out during his show. Tucker Carlson showed basically on Tuesday that there was this possibility. And even when I was on InfoWars with Owen the other day, I said the CIA had already warned that there was this possibility. When the CIA is warning, it means that they're actually preparing to do it themselves most of the times. Now, what we are showing here on the screen is the damage from this pipeline, the damage that, of course, is shown by the Danish military on the pipelines. Damage which is also polluting Scandinavia with a large cloud of methane. Which I mean, people tell me methane is natural. No, well, when it goes into the pipelines, it's not natural anymore because it needs to be worked out with some other fossil fuels in order to go down the pipeline. So the methane that comes out
toxic.
It becomes toxic. And then, but there is a good thing, because the Russians don't want to waste their gas. Apparently today, for the first time, we have confirmation that Gazprom has devised a way to block the gas, not waste it, and keep it in the Russian Federation. So this means that they are closing. That's in Italy, for example, since today, they have closed the pipeline with Italy from Austria because they're not happy with Italy. But thank you so much for calling us. And of course, thank you. And we will show now, before, of course, we end the show, we have to show Berlusconi's birthday party. Because, you know, Silvio Berlusconi was the prime minister of Italy. Now he came back with this alliance with Giorgia Meloni. Of course, I told Giorgia Meloni is an Aspen Institute, Salvini is a joke. They're all a joke. Remember, guys, when it comes to Italian politics, Leo Zagami is your man because I had to free the country. That's why I had to free the country. But Berlusconi, who I know very well, I did politics with him, with his party. I was candidate. Christy went around with me. You remember when we were doing politics with Berlusconi? They thought you were a Berlusconi lady. Maybe because he has all these ladies around.
Whatever.
This is basically his 86th birthday party with all his relatives. Most of them are his daughters, sons, and then some mafiosi. This is the... I like the music that Berlusconi uses for his birthday party. And then there is the most kitsch cake. The one that you see, the blonde next to him, is his quasi-wife. Now he has invented this new terminology, a nearly wife. They're not really formally married, but he's a quasi-wife. Yeah. That you saw, the blonde you saw there in that moment is one of the daughters of Silvio Berlusconi. And here, of course, he gives a little speech in which he says he's, of course, the best politician in the world. Paradoxically, guys, he's the only one who could save us from a nuclear war because he's Vladimir Putin's best friend in the West. So just, that's how it is.
Perché il mio motto è questo. Chi ci crede combatte, chi ci crede supera tutti gli ostacoli, chi ci crede vince.
And now the arrival of the most kitsch cake, in which basically there is all the political party, all its achievements of a lifetime. Come on, it's kind of kitsch, this cake. It's hilarious. So this was the Leo Zagami show, ladies and gentlemen. That is his daughter, one of his daughters. All kinds of, I mean, he has a very big family. I mean, a lot. So this was Berlusconi's birthday party, and now, of course, we are ending transmissions, and we are wishing everybody a great weekend and a great week. Hello, Rambo. Kissy? No, Kissy. No, Kissy. No, Kissy today. No, Kissy. He only gives me kisses for the Italian show, not the English show.
Yeah.
That's only for you.
See you next week, guys.
Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for making this your Saturday morning, for the privilege of your time. I hope to see you soon, and please keep on sustaining us and supporting us thanks to the purchase of our books and also the occasional donation. Thank you very much.
Stay safe, everyone. Have a good week.
Stay safe, everybody. We know that the Antichrist is around the corner, but we also know the Messiah is around the corner, so we are not too worried.
Jesus is coming. Bye, everyone.
Especially this one.
He's going to be on Monday with Harrison.
Yes. I will be on InfoWars on Monday morning with Harrison at 10 a.m. CST.
More, 8 a.m.
8 a.m. PST.
Oh, okay.
So I will see you on the American Journal. Take care, guys. Grazie, Christy. Grazie, Rambo. Grazie, everybody. Voila.
Next time.
Next time. Then from Palm Springs, California. Bye-bye.